Perfect square. If a is an integer and b is equal to a into a, we say that b is a perfect square. That is, when a number is multiplied by itself, you get the square of that number. A perfect square is either equal to 0 or it is a positive integer. Perfect square is never a negative integer. The square of an integer is even and the square of an odd integer is odd. Let us look at this table which shows the list of first 10 perfect squares. See, 1 square is equal to 1, 2 square equal to 4, 3 square 9, 4 square 16, 5 square 25, 6 square 36, 7 square 49, 8 square 64, 9 square is equal to 81 and 10 square is equal to 100. See, if you observe carefully at all the squares, the unit place either involves 0, 1, 4, 5, 6 or 9. So you have 1, 4, 9, 6, 5. And numbers 2, 3, 7 and 8 never come in the units place of a perfect square. This is a very important rule to identify whether the given number is a perfect square. This is not the only rule, but this is one of the most important rule. Now look at this question. Express the following statements mathematically. Square of 4 is 16. How to write this? How to represent this mathematically? This can be represented as 4 to the power 2 is equal to 16. 4 to the power 2 is nothing but 4 square. Square of 8 is 64. So 8 raised to the power 2, 8 square is equal to 64. Square of 15 is 225. This can be written as 15 whole raised to 2 is equal to 225. Now, identify the perfect squares among the following numbers. So, we have seen one of the rules. Numbers 2, 3, 7 and 8 never comes in the units place of a perfect square. So let us identify the perfect square. So 1 is a perfect square. 1 square is equal to 1. 2 is not a perfect square. 3 is not a perfect square. 8 is not a perfect square. 36, yes. 6 into 6 gives you 36. So 36 is a perfect square. 7 into 7 gives 49. So 49 is a perfect square. 65 is not a perfect square. 67 is not a perfect square. 71 is not a perfect square. 81, 9 into 9 gives 81. So 81 is a perfect square. 169. So if you multiply 13 into 13, you get 169. So 169 is a perfect square. 25 into 25 gives you 625. So 625 is a perfect square. 9. So if you multiply 30 into 30, you get 900. So 900 is a perfect square. 100 is a square of 10. 1000 is not a perfect square. See, when you have any number with zeros, to identify whether it is a perfect square or not, you have to see the number of zeros. If the number of zeros is a even number, there is a possibility of this is not a perfect square. The number of zeros in that number must be a even number. So suppose if you have 10,000, that is a perfect square. 1000 is not a perfect square. You have 3 zeros, which is odd number, so it's not a perfect square. In 10,000 you have 4 zeros, so it's a perfect square. Thank you.